Ultimate success formula. What this is based upon is something very fundamental. And that is that people who succeed in any situation have a pattern of what they do to succeed. And it doesn't matter whether that person is succeeding in a business context or in a relationship context. It doesn't matter what the environment is. The fundamental lessons or laws for succeeding are very, very basic. And as simplistic as this sounds, do most people really know what they want? What do you think? Yes or no? At least not consciously, they don't, right? Which we call OPA because the first O stands for what's my outcome. For example, how many of you have ever been caught up in an argument and you even forgot what you're arguing for, but you knew you had to win? How many been there? Say aye. Okay. So you might write underneath this is the subset of number one, still number one. Just write clarity is power. You don't have to write all that down. For short, it's called a training system. When people are managing their lives, we have them ask, what's my outcome? And then Massive action, personal what? Power, which means the ability to take action. So now, if you know your outcome, you know why you want it. You got your purpose. You got your drive. You got your A. Now, what if you change your approach and that's still not working? Then what would you do? What would you do? Come on, what would you do? Change it again. Keep yourself in a peak state. Sit up in your chair. Some of you have gone back into that deep hypnotic state of learning, I can see. And what if you tried that and it didn't work? Then what would you do? Okay? So this is the ultimate success formula. It comes down to knowing what you want, why you want it, taking massive action. That's it. Anyone who succeeds does this. Yes or no? Yes or no?